Rito Yaki is a 15-year-old kid who has attempted multiple times to confess his love to the girl he loved, Haruna Sarenji, but has been unable to proceed due to the weirdest circumstances. He recalls how at some point in his life everyone suspected him. She was the only one who believed him. It was that moment. Her indigo eyes captivated his heart. Her short hair was as lovely as a newly mined sapphire stone. But on one fateful day while having a bath, a naked lady appears in his tub. Using one of her inventions, she teleports without garments into Rito's bathtub when he accidentally gropes her breasts. Lala Sadolin, a fascinating alien girl with jaded eyes and hair as beautiful as a rough flower, unites with her outfit pet Pete-chan and transforms by wearing a unique uniform. That is when a bunch of men shows up, causing the duo to run for their safety. Following their encounter, when they hit a dead end and have no way out, they are accosted by a nobleman from a spaceship. It is revealed that she fled to Earth to evade daily scheduled marriage candidate interviews set up by her father, Devil Luke's monarch, the Emperor of the Milky Way galaxy, and ruler of the known universe. Rito attempted to protect her from her uncle Zastin, who came on her father's orders to bring Lala back home. He did not want anything to do with her because of his affection for Haruna. The next day, Haruna questions him about last night, and instead of explaining, he prepares to confess his love to her. However, when he confesses and raises his head, he is confronted by Lala, who says that she would be delighted to be his wife, embarrassing him in the presence of his crush. From Zastin, Lala's uncle and the commander of her bodyguard, Rito learns that if he cancels his engagement with Lala, he will be killed and her father will destroy Earth. Rito presumably asks him if it is feasible to pull out of his engagement without penalties. Zastin advises that to break off his engagement, he must touch Lala's breasts again within the initial 3 days. While he tries to touch Lala's breasts several times, he never makes it in time and is now trapped in the engagement. The following day at school, Rito's aspirations of a calm school life are dashed when Lala is introduced into the classroom, just as he begins to believe that school is the only place where he can breathe again. When Haruna informs Rito that she believes he and Lala are a good match, he is saddened. At home, Rito's younger sister Mikan observes his downcast demeanor and recommends they go out the following day to show Lala about town. When she is out, Lala's artificial intelligence peak, which is a piece of clothing, loses much energy, and as a result, her garment begins to dissolve. As they enter a store to get her new clothing, they happen to run into Haruna. She joins them as they travel to the aquarium, but their trip is cut short when Lala causes a disturbance that floods the structure. When Zastin informs Rito that by marrying Lala, he will eventually become king of Devil Luke and be required to fight in an interplanetary conflict, he becomes frightened. Later that night, Lala cooks, but the meal is terrible. To avoid having to participate in conflicts, one day Rito says he won't marry Lala if she can't cook. Lala swiftly departs and returns to space, but she reappears the following day at school, intending to make Rito a tasty meal. She gathers ingredients that were still alive from all around the galaxy and uses them to wreak havoc in the school. When Saki, a beautiful and wealthy girl, returns to school, she is distraught to see that Lala is the boy's favorite instead of herself. After writing Lala a letter inviting her to a beauty pageant, she uses Rito's kidnapping as bait. Saki warns him that if Lala is late, he will be made to touch Saki's chest in front of the whole school. Lala ultimately arrives, but after Bao Bao Doggy, a robot designed to resemble a dog by Lala, tears off her swimsuit and reveals her bare body to everyone. She is then forced to flee in disgrace. Later on, Saki learns that Lala could be hiding a big secret, so she pretends as Rito to find out and expose the truth as a retaliation for her humiliation. She stumbles into a hole leading to Rito's chamber after setting off several traps Zastin had set up throughout the home. There, by mistake pressing a switch, also put up by him, Saki and Lala are ejected into space together with the rest of the chamber, and Zastin and his crew pursue them. However, Lala accidentally shoots them down, causing Saki to fall off the chamber. Even so, Lala dives out and succeeds in saving Saki, who passes out despite being immensely moved by this gesture of kindness. Soon Saki awakens to see that Bao Bao Doggy-kun has stripped her nude in front of a large group of spectators while still unconscious. Saki feels ashamed in front of everyone and again accuses Lala, who circles the city seeking her. A shape-shifting extraterrestrial named Buri arrives to ask Lala to marry him. Knowing that Rito has feelings for Haruna, he disguises himself as the principal and kidnaps her in the fitness equipment room. He entices Rito there and promises to give Haruna back if Rito breaks off his engagement with Lala. Later on, Lala goes to see Haruna in the hospital and informs her that Rito rescued her. Meanwhile, Rito feels he has forgotten something in the hallway, but he brushes it off because he can't recall anything. Ray and Elsie, a buddy from their youth who claims to be the only guy good enough to love Lala, travels to Earth. He repeatedly attempts to impress Lala by flaunting his physical prowess, quickness, and good looks, but fails. After failing, he asks Rito how he manages to be macho enough for Lala. Meanwhile, he gets hit in the back with a frisbee and accidentally kisses Rito. Rain constantly exercises to win Lala's affection while watching Pocky, which is a parody of Rocky that offers inspirational advice for men. Rain eventually runs a 120-kilometer marathon and visits Lala to hear her finally compliment him on being a man, but he sneezes, which causes him to transform into a lady. After the routine morning commotion involving Rito getting into trouble with Lala's inventions, and unintentionally tackling Haruna, while Rain has now fallen in love with Rito after the kiss they shared while she was a man. A fellow student, Yuiko Tegawa, has had enough of the eki in the school, along with trying to clean everything up. She also sets up a squad to monitor the behavior of the pupils and enforce new school policies. Yui prevents Rito from speaking to any girls for 2 weeks because she thinks he is responsible for everything happening in the school. She quickly realizes that even with Rito gone, Eki is still there. She then starts to question if she is right to hold Rito accountable. Rito is discovered to be kind-hearted when Yui follows him as he exits the building. She then lifts his penalty. In the meantime, Lala throws Rito a party to cheer him up. She uses her machine to transport him there but mistakenly drags Yui while the machine is pushing him. The next day, Lala's garments vanish after Rito unintentionally pushes Peek off of her. When Yui notices this, she administrates Rito yet another penalty. Lala is pursued by Picari, a guy in an armored rocket suit. Picari attempts to assault Lala and take her back to his nation but fails when Lala retaliates and breaks his rocket suit, preventing him from returning home. He begs Rin and Zaston for advice while on the streets during the night. He receives directions from Zaston to Ryoko Mikado's hospital where she treats him. Now healthy, he attempts to abduct Lala one last time by paralyzing her and holding Rito captive. After the occurrence, Ryoko mummifies him and then permits Lala to launch Picari back to his native country alone. Lala rejects Stella's offer to take her away for an Idol CD debut because she likes Earth and wants to remain with Rito. Stella is the head of Lala's fan club on Devil Luke. Stella accuses Rito of causing the problem and requests that he locate a golden egg for her to use in place of Lala. When the president becomes fixated on Haruna becoming the golden egg, Rito attempts to stop her. After thwarting Stella's attempts to abduct Haruna, he suggests another option. Later in the night, Mikon volunteers to fill in, giving Stella the thought of having Mikon, Rito, and Lala as a trio. Even though everything appears to be going well, Stella is obliged to return immediately after learning that her fan club failed to pay taxes during an audit. An assassin named Golden Darkness arrives on Earth to kill Rito. She is greeted by Rito, who gives her a taiyaki. Rito is recognized by Golden Darkness, who assaults him. Zaston comes to rescue him but fails. Lala also engages in combat, which causes Golden Darkness to doubt the details about Rito she had been provided with. Golden Darkness is corrected by Lala when Lacospo interrupts and reveals himself as the client. He wanted to propose to Lala, therefore he planned to have Rito killed by Golden Darkness. Lala warns Golden Darkness not to fall for Lacospo's tricks, but Lacospo encounters an enormous alien frog. After Lala and Rito's defeated, Golden Darkness still views Rito as her goal and decides to stay on Earth. Rito has a twisted day at a sporting event since he cannot help but touch Haruna unintentionally and believes she despises him. The contests are pointless, and the principal makes the females perform sensual body workouts, which costs him heavily. Later on, a variety of bizarre occurrences impose on the girls to take care of them, making Field Day a day of strangeness. Rito's day worsens when he is ambushed in the middle of the game and unintentionally grabs Haruna's breasts. Later, when Lala arrives, he unintentionally leans on Haruna on the bed. Rito begins the day on his bed, facing Lala just like every other day. He receives a visit from Zaston, informing him that Lala's father will be there to assess his eligibility for marriage. For the rest of the day, Rito is preoccupied with wondering what the father of Lala looks like. At school, Rito is summoned to the roof to meet with another girl, but as he finishes conversing with her, a man's voice is heard. Rito has failed the test set up by Lala's father to determine Rito's suitability. A little boy appears in front of him. Rito isn't sure who the kid is, but remains shocked when he reveals himself as Lala's father, who is a galactic tyrant. But before anything can happen, Lala arrives on at the roof to save Rito. After watching his daughter defend Rito and explain why she loves him, King Devil Luke dares Rito to become the galaxy's best man. Rito returns home, considers his options, and decides to proceed. This is the end for now. Make sure you stay with us to watch the next part of the series.